Do we like that? That was kind of cool, right?
Ow.
Sorry. Hey, everybody, we're here. Hope everybody had a great Easter. We are here after Richmond. A lot of controversy in the last 2 laps of that race. Shout out Bubba Wallace and Kyle Larson for that caution. That gave us a lot of fun. Really helped Kyle Larson. You know, that's another conversation to be had about
Larson gets
that.
spun and it helps him.
Yeah. There's a conversation definitely to be had for that. But I digress. Denny Hamlin continues his undefeated streak on the short tracks this season. The LA Coliseum, Denny Hamlin. Bristol, Denny Hamlin. Richmond, Denny Hamlin. 3 for 3 so far on the tracks, under a mile. The 11 car, he is all in this year. Can he win that elusive championship? We saw a lot going on. We saw strategy. We saw maybe one of the more questionable caution calls we've seen from NASCAR this season, especially with the precedent of them not wanting to interrupt strategy runs and holding yellows in a lot of those instances. They had a pretty quick finger on the yellow when Kyle Busch tapped the wall in stage 2.
Yeah.
Yep.
SVG's got to get on it. He can't be doing
SVG's got to be better. Our guy, race control, SVG. We've got to talk about the ending. All right. Everybody's talking about it. Did Denny Hamlin jump the start? That's a big discussion. And even if you listen to Actions Detrimental, he kind of admitted that he did by a little bit. But he said there's a lot of stuff that happens that you don't necessarily see that's worse than that. And he decided when he saw Truex inch up, he went. So it was very close. I guess if you consider it to be a very black and white rule, then it's a penalty. But I think NASCAR has some flexibility with that one, a slight bit, just so that, it gives the leader a little bit more of an opportunity to control the restart. And I don't think they want to call a race on a restart violation that was that minor, if anything. That's my opinion. I don't think it was egregious. Do I think they made the right call? Yeah, I'll go with yes. I think they made the right call. But it was very unfortunate for Martin Truex Jr., who was about a lap and a half away from winning at Richmond. And then he didn't. And then he raged. Our guy, Spencer Boyce. Speaking of Spencer Boyce.
Right on cue, baby.
Yeah, that was really good timing, actually. I thought Spencer was in the 19 car last night at the end there. You could have convinced me that 19 car was driven by Spencer Boyce on those last 2 laps. All right. Losing the race, getting angry, slamming. I mean, it was great.
Slammed everybody. Larson.
Yeah. It's going to take a lot for me to be in Larson's side, but okay, Spencer. It's going to take a lot for me to be on Larson's side, but I'm 100% on Larson's side. Truex just door slammed him for no reason. And then Larson just put him in the wall. At least you didn't do what KLW did. Nah, you didn't cheat to win the stage, and then you didn't whine about where you were put because you were cheating and you were in the front and didn't know what to do. That's what happened to KLW. And he was awfully angry last night if anybody watched our stream. But I think he's gone now, so that doesn't matter anymore. We'll go around the horn here. I've talked for 4 minutes. I don't think anybody deserves to hear me talk for 4 minutes. Ryan Parsons, your thoughts, and we'll go to Sal Zavala, and then we will head into one of my favorite segments on this program.
I mean, the last bit of the parts that we got to watch, I thought it was a really good race. Obviously, the caution benefited Hamlin the most as pit crew gave him the best stop to really give him the win under that yellow, a 9-second pit stop compared to a 10-3 by both Logano and Truex. So did Hamlin go early? He did. I mean, but we've seen more egregious things. So if you call it, you call it. If you don't, you don't. Because there have been more egregious things that we have seen be called. The only problem I have is that Kyle Busch caution. Like, how is that a caution? That
Yeah,
was a
screwed some guys over big time. Our-
real bad
Our
caution.
Alex Bowman contingent in our league was not happy.
Yeah, that screwed Bowman massively. And NASCAR's got to be better because he just touched the wall. It wasn't like he was spinning. So yeah, but overall, really good race. Gave us a good ending. Truex is mad, wishing there was going to be a fight between him and Larson, but sadly there wasn't.
Larson's kind of a pussy. Just gonna say that. The
Well,
guy got
Larson's-
slammed around by Truex and said, "Yeah, I've got a lot of respect for him. I hope he's not mad."
Well,
at me."
Larson's also the smallest guy, I think, in the field.
Tyler Reddick, Justin Haley are NASCAR drivers, and those guys are like sizes of infants. So, I
So
don't think Larson's a fighter. He's more of a lover.
yeah.
Sally, you actually got to see the whole race. I was watching it, kind of peeking down during our league race last night, and then watched the last half of it in full. Your thoughts as a whole? I thought it was like a race on a very broad scale. I thought it was a good race. NASCAR fans really like to complain no matter what they get. This was a strategy race. It had a lot of green flag. My only complaint would be it seemed like cars stalled out as you got closer behind them. And like faster cars had trouble passing is one thing that I noticed. But, that's what we get when we have basically spec cars in a series. But give me your thoughts, Sal.
I thought it was, at least for Richmond standards, I thought it was a pretty decent race. Like you said, I would have loved had that caution that shouldn't have been a caution not come out. I would have loved to kind of see what strategy essentially would have prevailed, the 2-stop or the 1-stop. The ending, I don't think he jumped it.
Oh, okay.
He rolled, and you see the outside car in this, or second place car, this case it was Truex, kind of try to anticipate the jump. So, and when Truex was kind of like backing off from anticipating, Hamlin was like, all right, this is it, and took off. I feel like you could make I don't get why Truex is mad. I feel like he just is trying to find a reason to be angry. But I feel you could have made a case for it had passing the line and heading into turn 1, Hamlin was like car lengths clear of him. Right. They battled until at least turn 3 and 4 of that lap.
Yeah, they were side by side.
So I really don't think that Truex has any case here. I don't think he jumped it, but I go Denny Hamlin, I guess.
Yeah, I thought Truex came across very poorly, in my opinion, last night. I don't think it's being talked about enough, I think, on the internet.
I would have understand if his only run-in was with Denny Hamlin there at the end, because I do agree. I do think Denny kind of used him up a bit. I think it was coming out of turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, but Truex is holding them down tight. If somebody holds you down like that, you kind of put yourself in a spot to get hit. Like,
the part I think makes Truex look very bad is when on the white flag, he just middle of the straightaway backstretch just turns left into Larson.
For no reason.
It was wild. And to me, that kind of reeks of like desperation. Like, he knows that his clock is probably ticking. And that was a win he had in his grasp. And it was gone. And when you're a guy like Truex, and you can assume potentially this is his last season in the Cup Series. I can't say that for sure, but it's a pretty good possibility, I'd say. I would say 50-50 this is his last year. 50% it's not. But do you guys think that played any role into his little tantrum after the race?
Because, I mean, you always hear these drivers say that you celebrate a win as if it's your last.
And for him, it seems like one of his next wins is going to be his last because it's coming up. He's got I would say 2 years left max, in my opinion.
With the new car and everything, I know a bunch of people like kind of give it a lot of crap, but it's a lot harder to win these races. Like you can't, you can try to make a case for like, oh yeah, I think these X amount of drivers are going to be the ones to beat this weekend at Martinsville. But I mean, essentially it's still a motorsports race and you don't know what can happen. I mean, look at last night, Truex dominated, looked like Logano was catching, but he probably would have stalled out. And
he was out of time.
You get one wreck that just changes everything, or you get a flat or something like that on the last lap.
All right. It is time. Oh, I didn't do the ticker this week. Oh, well, Bradley wasn't there to yell at me about it. We'll get it next week for sure. It's time. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Here's your graphic. There you go.
All right, my two dudes. We got to go with Denny Hamlin. He was at the right place at the right time. His pit crew was really solid the whole entire race. Him and Larson's. And Larson's almost got him out in time to even be one of the front two. But Hamlin's crew was the best there on the last pit stop, got him out to the lead, which he didn't surrender. And then my second dude, I'm going to go with Joey Logano. He's really struggled this year. He said that he was looking forward to the next 2 weeks with it being short tracks and looking to show something, and that he did. He was really good, arguably the only car that you may think could have possibly caught Truex, but like you guys said, he was kind of stalling there at the end. I'm going to have a few honorable mentions. Chase was decent, was pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
It was big for him to get a good week. And then Josh Berry, like he had a few different instances on pit road. I think he sped once and then he had something else happen. And I think he still finished 11th. So if he didn't have any of those instances, he probably was a top 5. He was honestly, in my opinion, top 5 all race. That caution that shouldn't have been a caution with Busch kind of screwed him. He was one of the guys who kind of got screwed by that. But there we have it.
Thank you, Maddie. That was good. Good discussion. We need to get this music off. We've got the ticker now on the bottom of the screen. So there you go. Anybody that was curious about where that was. Maddie, you have a pretty hot take about this race, I think. Actually,
yeah, I want to say it was one
of this race on Twitter, at least, which, you know, never really can get a full gauge of things, but I found it to be a mixed bag of reviews for this race. But tell me your thoughts, Maddie.
I thought it was one of the best races of the year, to be honest. I thought it was fun to be able to see the side-by-side racing where sometimes it would stall out, but then if you had a car that was good, I think you were able to eventually make the pass on the outside. Like Logano was able to make that work. Hamlin was able to, Truex, Larson. In the beginning of the race, you had Bubba and Barry who were able to make their way up through the field as well. I kind of wish that Psycho ended up playing out to see what stop would have been better there in stage 2, the 1 stop or the 2 stop, the whole Kyle Busch thing. I think that I'll compare that to kind of a referee in basketball when there's a fast break and you got someone going in for a layup and you think the other guy is going to foul him. You kind of already have the whistle in your mouth ready to blow it. And I feel like that's what NASCAR had there. They just thought he was going to eventually spin out when he didn't. What else did we have during that race? I feel like Hamlin did jump the restart. It's interesting how like Fox, I know they've definitely got the technology to like see like the RPMs and the miles per hour to see. It was interesting though when Mike Joy said that they're not going to review it, and then Mr. Bob took to X or Twitter, whatever one you want to call it, and
we've got to call it. Nobody calls it X.
Yeah.
All right.
And when
I will still call it Twitter.
Yeah. And he had a post up where one of the NASCAR officials said they did review it. So that's kind of weird that one's saying they did review it and didn't find anything, and then Mike Joy just came out right away and said that they didn't do it.
I think that's just them saying that because if the restart is reviewed, Bob will tweet out immediately after the restart, it's under review.
Mhm.
That tweet didn't come. So there was never a call from
Yeah.
race control that was under review.
Don't they review all of them? I thought I've seen
They do.
that they review all of
They do, but there's a difference when they say, "Oh, the restart is under review." That means they're looking at something closer, because you hear that whenever somebody laid back on the restart or got out of lane. Like when Chase did it at Las Vegas last year.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
it was. Bob tweets out the restart's under review. You can look at the restart and see what happened. So that's usually what you hear. Every restart is of course reviewed. They have to review it to see if there's anything wrong. But usually it's probably just like a one look type thing, and then they move forward. The under review, I think, is
more in
more.
depth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when they zero in on something.
So that was interesting. The Marty T drama there at the end of the race was definitely something.
Yeah.
Turning left straight into Larson was eerily to me similar of when Bubba did it to Larson. Larson just
Oh.
didn't spin out of control, because if you remember that, like Larson, you could say got into Bubba, and then Bubba just hit the wall, and then just immediately when he straightened it out, turned left and just dumped Larson. I think the same thing could have very well happened to Larson here. I think it's very dangerous. I don't think there should be a penalty, but something like that shouldn't happen. You should be able to control your emotions, I feel like. But with saying that, I'll say I definitely feel like a lot of his poor statements, you can say, towards the end of the race are definitely just fueled on the fact that it's been so long for him without a win. And for Marty T,
Hasn't been that long, but
well, I mean,
I
he
just
didn't
think
win. He didn't win last year, so
Yeah, he did.
he did. Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
that
he
was
won-
2. It was 2 years ago that he didn't win. That's right.
Yeah,
I thought
he won
it was 2 straight years
or
without
three
him.
times last year, I think.
Gotcha. So
He won Dover. I saw him win at New Hampshire. I can
Yeah.
confirm he won last
Yeah.
year. My eyes have proof. I did
yeah,
see
I just feel like his chances. Maybe he feels like his chances to win races are significantly decreased than what they've been recently.
And
So
this is a track that I assume heading into the season he has circled.
yeah,
You
and
know,
then
like
he
I know this doesn't relate much, but I said in my interview last night with Kylo, you kind of look into a season and you see your lane for wins,
mhm.
and I assume this is where Martin Truex found his lane for a win. I bet he looks at a track like Richmond, Dover, New Hampshire, kind of those style of tracks, Martinsville, as like that's his lane to win. He's got to take advantage of that. So go ahead, keep going, Maddie. But that's what I think kind of played mostly into his frustration there.
Yeah, just like I said, his chances of winning, I feel like he thinks are strictly only at like 3, maybe 4 tracks
Yeah.
a year. And it was just frustrating, of course, to have a caution come out with only 2 to go, where you probably weren't getting caught. But overall, I thought it was a really good race. Fun to see for sure.
Yep. And while I have a second here, Kevron is usually with us every week. He's not here this week. Unfortunately, his grandmother passed away today. So all of us here in the CFRL and everybody around the league, just giving them, that family, their well wishes. Hopefully we see Kevron back here next week, but he can take all the time he needs. That's a pretty big loss. So we're thinking of you. Hopefully we see you next week. Yeah. So unfortunate news to hear that today, but let's move forward. One thing we did not talk about from the race yet, I thought the wet weather tires performed very well. It got the race back going at a pretty good time, and that also I think really helped NASCAR's TV window, because in reality the race was only delayed maybe 15 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
And they were able to get going, and that kind of provided an interesting strategy. I wish they kind of, I wish there was maybe less restriction on it, and I wish like they let the teams control when to go onto dries instead of the wet tires. I feel like NASCAR calling a caution and saying, okay, now it's time, and doing non-competitive pit stops. I'm not crazy about that. So, I think that there could be a little more leeway in letting crew chiefs make strategy about that. I don't know what you guys think, but I think they performed. The tire itself performed well. We've only seen it North Wilkesboro last year, and I think a truck race at Martinsville, considering an oval wet weather tire. So, any thoughts on that, guys?
I mean, I think you're right in the fact that maybe they need to be a little less strict with the wets to slick and everything like that, because they would play into more strategy. Because let's say the track's starting to dry out, but maybe it's not right there to be able to go to slicks. Then if those drivers or those crew chiefs say, hey, we could go to slicks, we think the track's dry enough, and then they make that mistake, well, that's their issue. I think they need to give a little less restrictions on that and let the crew chiefs kind of decide from there.
For sure. Sally?
Yeah, and I think Kevin Harvick touched on it after the second stop where they were kind of flip-flop back and forth, like, oh, it's still wet, oh, we're going to slicks. I mean, you can't have non-competitive pit stops in the Cup Series. This is your biggest series, and these guys are getting paid a lot of money to outperform their competition. I mean, I guess I also get it because apparently you set the car up a bit differently for wet weather tires rather than slicks. So you got to give them time to like undo those adjustments and stuff. But I think NASCAR, if it's the start of the race, you can declare it wet or dry.
Yep.
But then as the race goes on, if we've already taken the green flag, I say you leave it in the hands of the team. Because I mean, I know it's probably different oval to road course, but I mean, look at the Roval.
Ty Dillon.
It's Ty Hamilton.
Yeah, he was incredible.
I feel like that would add some kind of what's it called? Some kind of entertainment in the strategy factor, because it's going to be like, well, the preferred lane, which in this case would have been the bottom, is dry. We can go to slicks, but there's still moisture up here on the high lane. Right. Do we want to rather go that way? Also, these tires wear amazing.
Yeah.
You could see these guys have their hands full whenever the thread is gone.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. That's kind of an interesting part about some F1 races, is like the wet to dry period and how they don't really police that at all. So I find that to be pretty. That's what kind of an interesting thing.
That's where I was going to go with it. Yeah, I would hope that they would maybe, after they're more familiar with it, try to go and take like an F1 approach with it, where like you could say, all right, we'll start it off on these types of tires, but then leave it into the team's hands on to what kind of tires they want. And I'm right on board with Sal with the whole non-competitive pit stops thing. Like, I don't see that. Like, that's a huge part of the race. And even in F1, in F1, it might not seem like it's that big of that big of a part, just because Max is so much better than everybody else, but it still is a huge thing in F1 for the other teams that are trying to get points. And it's a major thing here in NASCAR. So I just don't get the whole non-competitive pit stops, but I would like to see them maybe in the future when they get a little bit more familiar with it, say like, okay, maybe we'll start on this, and then it's up to you guys to figure out which one you think is going to be better for your crew.
Yeah. Got a comment from Kevron here. I appreciate y'all. Thank you, Mike Mansfield, for all forever. Miss you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. I missed this earlier. We got a stat from Wessel. Last night was the closest finish first to last in NASCAR history.
It's kind of wild.
There's cars like a lot of laps down, though. That surprises me.
4 laps down. That was still the closest. Yeah.
Wow. I never knew that.
Because technically, all 36 still finished. So
yeah.
Wow.
And I hate to complain about something, but here we go. When we talk about horsepower, adding that back, I think would add a different element, because I kind of miss seeing like engine failures.
Yeah.
I liked seeing teams try to push the limits and an engine would fail because of it.
Right.
Blown engines Matt, how often do you see a blown engine in NASCAR?
Not much anymore.
Yeah, and 10, 15 years ago, you probably saw at least one per week, I'd say.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
I don't know if I was necessarily watching 10 or 15 years ago, but I was still
Yeah.
in the time frame, even within the past few years, like the last, I think 2 or 3 years before the next gen cars came out, like you still saw engine failures. Like I think isn't that what derailed Kyle there his last year at RCI or in the playoffs. You had that, wasn't there
RCI, what the hell did you just say?
I murdered that. I said RCR, but I meant Joe Gibbs because he's in RCR
Yeah.
now. So never mind. But yeah, when he was in Joe Gibbs, I
Yeah.
think he blew his engine there
At
in the playoffs,
Darlington.
and
Yeah,
that kind of
that
just
wild
was
one
the
where it was like 2 or 3 of them that
Yeah.
blew it.
Truex
Yeah.
and Kyle did it at the same time. It's crazy. It's
and then I
the
think
dude
like
from Cars
and then I
2 hit the
think
button.
didn't like the next week after that, like Bell have it happen to him or something like that, or maybe it was the week
Yeah,
prior.
I think so.
feel like it was like multiple Joe Gibbs cars there within like a 3-week stretch, blew engines.
Yeah. And it used to be much more common than, and I think it's just a progressive lessening. And of course, as we get more advanced, we're going to get to that point. But as Kevron says here, less horsepower equals less motor stress equals less blown motors. There we go. That's a great explanation. It's pretty simple, pretty easy to understand, and pretty accurate. Kevron also asked prediction on F1 winner at Japan next week. Max Verstappen lost the last race at Australia on the Albert Park circuit, so he'll win by 40 seconds.
I was gonna say, you better get prepared for him to roll off like 12 straight victories. That
Yeah,
man's not
Max is gonna win. He's gonna have like 5. He's gonna have like 5, 6 cars lapped before he.
I will say, talking about like blown engines. Obviously, nothing blew last night, but it was fun to see. The one thing I do like about short track racing is the glowing of the rotors on some people's cars when they're braking. Just like you see how much they actually have to brake, which is just something that's really cool.
And just seeing how much they're burning up, how hot they are later in the race. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. Anything else from the Cup race you want to talk about? I didn't think anything else like of importance happened. Hey, Sally, can we do our little Chase Elliott segment here?
No,
Yeah.
God.
Top 5.
That was huge, dude. That was absolutely huge.
I was so happy. He got to go to restart to get it too. I mean, it was like, yeah. And he said what I've been saying about him he said in his interview what I've been saying about him for weeks. He goes, yeah, it's good to do this, especially when when it's so hard to pass, or at least I have trouble. And I'm like, yeah, you do. You can't pass anybody. Sally, your thoughts on that?
Oh, you're good. Never mind.
It was good. I'm not gonna lie. I had huge expectations when he passed Kyle Larson on like laps 3.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, we're about to dominate this race. Yeah. Then reality kind of set back in, and he was lower part of top 10, upper teens. Then 4 tires and fuel, and a good restart.
Yeah. So Tegan says this, also with mentioning Brad had some kind of device on his axle to potentially look into increasing horsepower. I thought it was Truex that had it. And I'm pretty sure it was just, I don't know necessarily if it was used for increasing horsepower. How I read into it, because Bob kind of said it was to gauge, like, use the device to gauge the engine performance, I think, so it can maybe be on an engine package in the future, so that there's more parity.
Wait, so what was it? I hadn't heard about that.
So I'll find Bob's tweet, because he tweeted out about it. I'm certain of that.
Happy birthday, Ryan.
Happy birthday. Somebody said it. Happy birthday, Ryan. Yep.
Happy birthday,
Ryan. Enjoy the day, big boy. Big Ryan guy. Bob tweets so many goddamn times. Holy
Who
shit.
does nothing but be on Twitter all day?
Dude, Bob is a fucking Twitter assassin, man. I mean, this guy is on it. Oh my goodness, I'm not even past the start of the race yesterday yet. I've been scrolling for 20 seconds. Jesus Christ, Bob. 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 Oh my goodness. Rain forecast. Oh, he posted the same forecast like 8 times consecutively.
Yeah.
Jeez, Bob. Oh my goodness. Yeah, there's fucking goddamn radar again. We get. Oh, there it is again. We get it, Bob. Oh god damn. Are we close yet? Yeah, okay, so it was an axle torque sensor. It was to gather engine/power data to help with engine development. I'm gonna play a video. Tegan talked about Brad mentioning it, so we'll just listen to Brad's interview because why not, right? We got to fill time somehow.
Thank you,
So,
Brad Keselowski.
Let's listen to Brad here. All right, hold on. Oh.
NASCAR says just to gather data, but I think a lot of people are thinking, well, eventually you could use to regulate if a new manufacturer comes in. I'm curious, are you interested to see what data that shows and or what you put in any cars, the thing coming up? Or do you have, I don't know how deep you've been in those type of conversations. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of pros and cons, and at the end of the day, I don't know if I have created a lot of unknowns too. I'd like to answer a few more unknowns before we get to the point of committing either way. And I think that's what they're trying to do with putting it on Trex's car is, understanding. First, you want to learn what you don't know, and I think right now there's questions as to whether we'll run a whole race. There's questions as to how the power changes throughout a race with heat and conditions and fuel loads and so forth. And this is going to answer a lot of those questions, and I think then we'll go back and hopefully as industry look at that data and see if this makes sense for us or not. I mean, I understand the initiative and why it's being attempted for cost-cutting measures that eventually, could lead to more OEM entries, which potentially could lead to, a larger investment in the sport that grows the sport for all of its fans and stakeholders. I think the first principles behind it are really solid, but there's a lot of work to be done in between that. Data in terms of mileage. Well, I mean, there's a lot of different things you could do with that data. I think primarily you can use that data to even out the power levels of the cars across the manufacturers and allow different engine architectures to be used in the sport, which is a big deal. And then potentially to cut some development costs and to your point, add some mileage.
Okay, so to me, I don't like it. Listening, I'm not a fan. I think that NASCAR's in long search for parity is a bad thing because the more parity there is, the harder it becomes to pass. And in the modern era of NASCAR, what do fans judge the racing on?
Passing.
If they want to go slower, I'm going to shoot myself because we can't do that. Like, if there's all these cries for more horsepower and NASCAR lowers it again, they're like...
That would be the most NASCAR thing to do.
Oh, my God.
That would really be a NASCAR thing to do.
Frustrating.
Because
I've got to fucking sneeze.
as soon as they're going to say, we're lowering the horsepower, and then their fans will be like, what are you going to lower it to, 550? Then they say, no, we're lowering it to 480.
Bro, my Land Rover pulls like half of that. I mean, like, that's
could you imagine that?
I'm telling you, sooner or later, we're going to have the souped up Odysseys ripping through here.
So, Yeah, I don't know. Might as well make it like the minivan series. Who cares? Who cares? I mean, I think we're on a path to like a hybrid engine in NASCAR at some point, which maybe that'll give us more horsepower. So yeah, who knows? We had the Xfinity race. Chandler Smith won. That was kind of a shitty race. If anybody watched that, I don't know. I think
Yeah,
might
I
have
didn't
been the
really
only
watch
one.
it.
But yeah, shitty race in my opinion. It wasn't exceptional. But hey, Joey Gase versus Dawson Cram, right? Did we enjoy that, guys?
Yeah, we've got to see a bumper be thrown.
Oh yeah.
I did see that. That part I saw, but I did not watch much of the race. But
Any thoughts on that incident? While I blow my nose real quick.
I hope
Away
it was
from the
worth it
camera.
for Joey Gase for this fine he's about to get. So
He's about to get a massive ass fine.
that's why he's selling fucking shirts because he's got to pay it now.
Who the fuck wouldn't sell shirts? So that's the problem.
yeah, I don't know how much of
I
a
think
contingent.
Wessel's
I don't
kind
know.
of right about this year.
Yeah, I don't know how much of a contingent Joey Gase really has.
It hasn't been
So I
exceptional. There's been some good
Yeah.
races, but yeah.
I mean, well, it's been ruined by one driver specifically.
Fuck Austin Hill. All right.
Whoa! Listen, just because the man
Hey.
is the second coming of Jesus on super speedway type tracks doesn't mean you have to hate the guy.
I would bet
I mean, I
there'd
did-
be one person in here though. No, I don't think he said Ryan. Sal would absolutely buy a Joey Gase t-shirt.
I would buy it.
I'll buy a Joey Gase t-shirt.
I would buy it.
Yes, you would, dude. You're like a simp for the back markers. You and all
I
your little
hated it
friends.
when Josh Williams did it.
Oh, come on,
I
dude.
came
You
on
love
here and
it.
shit on him for doing it too last
You
year.
love it. You love it.
I don't, dude. I don't even know who Dawson Cram is. I saw him. For
Yeah,
the
you.
first
Yes,
time.
you do. I swear to God, you do. Because you remember he qualified really well that one race last year, and Rick Allen said, "Oh, and all the Dawson Cram fans." You remember
I
that?
do know.
Yeah, you do remember that.
Oh,
Rick Allen goes, "All the Dawson Cram fans might rejoice." Like, what the fuck? Who cares about Dawson Cram? Okay. I didn't think we'd get going like that about this. Joey
Yeah, we
Gase
gotta-
bumper throw greater than the Josh Williams walk off.
Yeah.
Sure.
They're both
Why
idiots.
not? Yeah. Might as well wipe your ass for that $30.
Hey, keep in mind, I don't remember exactly. It was for walking on a live track or something. Joey Gase and that small team might be looking at a suspension here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's probably gonna get
Suspension
suspended
and fine.
because he walked into
Okay.
oncoming traffic and NASCAR
Oh
has a
man,
ruling
how are
about
they gonna
that.
edit? Does that mean Frankie Muniz is gonna race next week?
Oh my God,
They're
he's
gonna be
racing.
down more money.
Oh, they gotta get more Frankie Muniz money. They gotta get Frankie to put more money into the thing. I mean, Frankie's the guy.
They're
I
still
thought,
got
I thought he
two
was
of them
racing for
in
Ryan
the
C
middle,
though.
don't they?
No, Frankie and Joey Gase are they're in together now, right? Aren't they?
That might be Nunez Gase Racing, whatever the hell they're called right now.
Fuck Dawson Cram Motorsports.
What I will say, my favorite thing of Joey Gase's interview though was him calling him out, saying that he's the reason he was open to the Xfinity.
Yeah. Could you imagine being like a NASCAR driver and crediting your career to Joey Gase?
Oh my God.
No offense. Sorry if you watch Joey Gase. You definitely don't.
No, who gives a shit about Joey Gase?
Oh man, Joey Gase. He's never coming on the pod. We gotta have a guest at some point.
Could you imagine?
We gotta get a guest. We can find. I feel like we can find somebody. Matt, you can talk to
I vote. I think Jesse Love would be a fun kind of guy.
Jesse Love.
Jesse
All
Love.
right.
No, I
Jesse
feel
Love.
like someone. I feel like it's either got to be someone really young or someone really old.
Okay.
Someone really, really young, just because they want to try to I was gonna say someone like
Grant.
what? Maybe
Grant?
maybe Grant.
Jock Wood?
Yes.
Jock
that's
Wood.
what I was
Daniel
going-
Dye.
Fucking Jock Wood.
Yeah, we gotta get it. The
Not
Checkered
Daniel
Flag
Dye.
Racing podcast brought to you by shopdanielDye.com. That could be a thing. I'd promote his website for sure.
I mean, maybe someone in the ARCA series. That'd be fun. That'd be fun and
No
spicy.
way.
No, I'm just kidding.
No fucking
Gus
way.
team.
Dale Quarterly.
Who's that? Who's the other? There's another guy who you guys like in the trucks who's always like towards the back.
Wallace
that guy?
Allen.
Yeah, that might be who it is. That might be who you're
Keith
talking about.
McGee.
That's the guy. That's the guy. Keith McGee. That's the guy.
Keith McGee would absolutely come on the podcast. Like if we asked Keith McGee, I think he would come onto our podcast. Legit.
Yeah, guys, I'm free. Let's do this.
Hell yeah.
I think he would.
I never
If
snapped
he asked for money, I'd block him. Joey Gase and Denny Hamlin have the same number of championships. That's right.
But they don't have the same amount of wins.
You really ruined the joke, Ryan. Riley's a fun guy. I heard Mark Martin likes pods.
Oh God.
I wouldn't mind Mark Martin on the program. That'd be a pretty
What
big
do we-
guess.
Yeah. If we could get someone who's like retired from the sport, that's a big name like that.
Rick Allen.
That'd be something.
Rick
wild.
Allen
Rick
agreed to
Allen
be
would
on
be
our
fun.
podcast.
That'd be
Oh my.
fun.
Could you imagine?
He
That'd
did.
be-
That's legit, right, Sal?
Yeah.
Did he actually?
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
we actually.
I snapped the dude. I got the dude on Snapchat, man.
Hey,
oh my goodness.
yeah,
that would be pretty crazy if we got Rick Allen in here. That'd be
It'd
wild.
be kind of awesome if we got
Rick
Yeah.
Allen, help us promote.
The Panther.
The guys.
Oh my
kinda
God!
getting, like,
If we got the Panther, that would be the last podcast we would ever air, right there.
I'd end it. We can't beat the Panther. I mean, I would love to watch the Panther try to hook up his device to get on the stream. He knows how to save tires. I don't know if he knows how to plug in an iPad. Oh man,
I'm
Ryan's
getting shat on.
booed.
Yeah.
Ryan's getting booed. That fucking sucks. Hey, President Harris spitting facts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Harris was crowned league president last night, actually.
Whoa.
Yeah.
He was. He was indeed.
KLW's rant. He's basically whatever Harris said. He acted like was our admin call, and I said, "Well, thanks for President Harris." But yeah, he's my president. Sure, why not? Ross Chastain needs to be on the pod so we can see his eye wander off into the distance. Sure. We'll get a guest at some point. Sal kind of we'll figure something out at some point.
Oh yeah.
Sal. We got to get somebody. We got to get a name.
We'll get something.
We gotta get
Kelly
could we get like a joke person?
Interesting.
I feel like we could get a joke person, and that would be
Keith
really
McGee
good.
might be the best guy for this.
I think Keith McGee's got a chance, man. Like,
Like I was saying, I feel like someone who's a back marker in the Xfinity or the Truck Series would think of it as like a legitimate opportunity too, and it wouldn't be someone who I feel like
Dawson Cram, aren't we?
we could get
Jerry,
Dawson.
sure, we can get Jerry Mayfield. We can all fucking smoke meth before the episode and talk to Jerry Mayfield. Yeah, that'd be fun. All right, we're way off the rails right now. It is time for picks. It was a big week for Kev Ryan. That late restart helped them out. And they, with Denny Hamlin, win the whole shebang. Congratulations,
for you,
Kev
Matt.
Ryan. You guys are up to 8 points.
I can't even see this. I can't
Matt's
even see
got
this
12
on my
points.
phone.
That
Who was second? Was it me?
It might have been me with Busher.
I had Brad.
He had,
I know Busher finished ninth. Busher finished ninth. I don't know where Brad.
I think
Case
Brad finished ahead of him.
is. Oh, maybe.
Let's find out. Brad was 8th. How about it, Maddie?
Oh.
That's fine.
Acknowledge me.
I'm still racking up points. I'm fine. I'm good.
Who picked Todd Berry?
Todd Berry.
Todd Berry.
What
Todd
the-
Berry.
What are you talking about?
This is why you're getting booed.
Yeah.
Todd
Josh
Berry, shut up, dude.
Who picked Josh? Was it Bradley?
Yeah, it was Bradley.
He was 2 positions shy of getting the point.
Okay, picking first this week is
Whoa, that's my hand.
let me do the math here on my head. I believe it is JB with Carson
It is
Hocevar, I think.
Not.
Okay, then tell me who it is. Oh, Justin Haley.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's Justin Haley.
Sal, you go first for Martinsville.
I'm gonna play it a little safe. What it's after Martin? Give me Josh. Give me Todd Berry.
Yeah, give me Todd Berry.
Really? God damn it! That was my pick.
Venga, vamos!
Vamos.
Next with Hocevar, and can you guys guess? He hasn't sent it to me yet. So
We gotta come up with like some kind of penalty if these picks
I-
are done.
Well, he just picks last over. That's kind of his penalty. So
Yeah.
that's penalty enough. I texted him an hour ago. I gave him the advance notice tonight, and then
The
I got
advanced
nothing.
notice.
So,
Excuse me.
next
Excuse me.
up is
Gilliland?
I believe it's Gill. Because
Gilliland was 21st. Hocevar, he hasn't picked. Yeah, it's Gilliland.
it is Gilliland.
And that's Wessel, who's picking Denny Hamlin.
Ooh.
Boy.
That's a big name off the board right there, Denny Hamlin.
Big bowl.
Can he go back to back, continue his run of dominance on short tracks? And then it will be Tegan. Ty Gibbs was his pick. So we're just waiting on Tegan's pick right now. Hopefully he texts me. I think he's watching. So let me see if he's texting me right now. What are our thoughts on the picks so far? We've got Josh Berry, Denny Hamlin off the board. I think those are two pretty good picks. So
Yeah, those are two very, very good picks.
Tegan picked Priest in the
he
comments.
picked Ryan Priest. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Track.
Can't
That's a
wait
good
for
pick.
Dumped.
All right, next up, Bradley, who picked Todd Berry last week. His pick will be Chase Briscoe.
Ooh, that was one of the guys that I was thinking.
Yeah.
It's a good pick. Next up, I think it's Maddie here. Who do you got, Maddie?
I'm gonna go. Who have I picked? Let's see. I picked you. I'm gonna go Ricky Stenhouse.
Go.
All right.
If you point your way with Ricky Stenhouse at Martinsville, I'm gonna go crazy.
Can I ask why?
He's normally towards like top 15. I want to say the last two races there. So I feel like it's. I believe so when I did research earlier today, unless I was researching the wrong track, which very well could have been possible. I do feel like that was a thing. I'm gonna actually
Kevron,
look at
I'm thinking that, but I'm not sure yet. I have two
What's
in
Kevron
mind.
thinking? Alex Bowman. I could pick him, but I'm not gonna. I'm picking Ty Gibbs.
Yeah.
So Alex Bowman, your guys' pick.
I'll go Bowman. Yeah.
All right. Coming off
So
a win, let's see how they do.
Stenhouse finished 8th in the April race last year here. But then he finished 19th in the race in October, and that's fine. I can give away some people, I feel like.
Yeah, Matt, you won with some of the. You won with who did you win with? Jones, Eric Jones,
And then I actually won the race with Suarez.
with Suarez out of fucking nowhere. What the fuck?
So we're good. And then if he's bad, I
That
just get
was
someone
crazy.
good next week.
Take me back to Atlanta, man. What a wild.
What a time, man. Hey, could be Chase Elliott's week, Sally. Could be Chase Elliott's week. Let's hope. We had our CFRL race, the Southern 500 last night. Big shout out to Kylo for broadcasting that on Easter Sunday night while we had a real life race going on. So big shout out to him. Ryan, you had kind of an unfortunate swing of events, get you a lap down, had one of the faster cars in the field. Take me through the race kind of as a whole and then from your perspective.
Race overall was fun to drive. This track for a lot of guys, it was a struggle because of the turn 2 bumps. It was either sending people into the wall on restarts or just as a run went on, or sending you left and you're wrecking into the wall, which ended up happening to me. So tough track. Definitely one of the longer, grueling ones compared. I know people say they don't want to run the Coke 600 because it's 200 laps for us because we do 50% of the race, but that race is not as bad as a Darlington where that track can get you at any moment. You could
Yeah.
be in the lead final lap and you're wrecking, and now
Yeah.
you're losing the race, which I know that was probably your worry. From my
You should have
perspective,
seen what I saw.
from my perspective, for stage one, the car was right out of the gate good. My worry was I wasn't going to take off well because when I had practiced earlier, it felt like my car couldn't get good speed in the short run, but as the long run went on, the car found itself. But thankfully, that wasn't the case. And then I got that little adjustment that I had found in practice, and it really took off. So getting that stage win was really nice. Getting that first playoff point of the year, having to pass you and Kevron. I knew you guys weren't going to make it easy,
Yeah,
but
I
I had to
told you
make
I wasn't.
I had to make some pretty big moves, especially on you to go to the outside in 3 and 4 and hold it. Then stage 2, really good until I wrecked. If I don't wreck there, man, I'm probably up front with you guys still and battling for a win. Then stage 3 got screwed because of who tried to win the stage. So I was stuck a lap down. Caution comes out, get my lap back, then stormed through the field. I had to get going from the get-go. So I made some moves that maybe I wouldn't have made otherwise if I knew I didn't have the car, but I knew I had the car. So it was more or less timing it. And so when I got to Harris and Bradley, I made the move as soon as Bradley made a mistake to get by Harris and Bradley at the same time to go and just take off. And then got to Tegan and then Wessel made a mistake, so I ended up getting into third by that run. So then made a pit stop, still third, then did a Mike move where pitting early, got to second, and ended up finishing there. So good race. Just stage 2 is kind of that outlier.
Yeah. I got pretty lucky. I just had good track position, good strategy, and that was enough to get it done. Sal, did you watch the whole race?
Yes.
What was your perspective from watching it? Because we don't usually have somebody that saw it kind of from a different angle than most
Big
people
old
see it.
headache in stage 2.
That's for sure. Yeah.
I mean, you could tell how challenging it was. Just the unknown. And I mean, it's unfortunate because I mean, it's not realistic at all. But the kind of watching and seeing to see who that glitch in the turns was gonna get, and like Ryan said, which way it was gonna send you, either up against the wall or down against the inside wall.
Yeah.
But just seeing people kind of because I mean, you guys kind of adjusted to it and prepared for either or case scenario that could have been thrown y'all's way. And I mean, hell of a drive by Ryan, hell of a drive by you. I know some other people had great comebacks after some setbacks here and there. But
yeah, definitely cool to get my second crown jewel. I thought, honestly, this was the one that I think I was least likely to get if you look at me a couple years ago. So definitely happy to pull the win off at Darlington. It was a good one. Since 2022 in the Cup Series, there's only been 2 guys that have won crown jewel races. Tegan's won 8. I've won 2. So shout out to Tegan. That guy is just otherworldly in these big races. So he always finds himself kind of in contention for that. So definitely makes you feel better winning a race like that, just taking down a guy that's so strong as Tegan is. But I think we've covered mainly everything. Did we miss anything today, guys?
Ryan's muted, and I don't think
No.
he's muted. There you go.
I think he's watching the Bloodline segment, I assume.
Oh,
What's going on? Give us an update. Are they still in their entrance?
Well, no, it's just Rock right now. He was talking about that. The belt's just missing the tears of Mama Rhodes.
Oh, goodness. On that note, I think we covered everything. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Hope everybody had a great Easter. The CFRL Cup Series is off on Sunday. We've got a midweek race at St. Louis in the Truck Series on Wednesday. And we'll be back next Monday talking all things Martinsville. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I appreciate all of you. And we will see you next week. Take us home, music. We're gonna jack this baby up. Goodbye.